أتاني مرة نزق ليسألني بما دنت، فقلت له أنا رجل أحب الله يا أنت، أتسأل كيف منهاجي أما بالحق آمنت، عباد الله إخواني فكن منهم إذا شئت، وكن معنا على حذر من التفريق إن صنت.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونعوذ بك من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا، من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، واشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، واشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. I bear witness there's no one worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last and final messenger. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He chose me and you to follow this religion. And wallahi, if as far as I can see, I don't see anyone that was actually born outside this religion, and I may be wrong. But if we were born in this religion, it was given to us in a plate. None of us actually came, and we were the ones like these people that we are going to speak about today. The seerah without the Sahaba is incomplete. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made these people to take the message of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam forward. And today we will give a pause to the seerah. Why? Because we want to speak about the early converts to Islam. And we will speak about the people who may bring tears to our eyes as well. And none other than people like Ali radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Uthman ibn Affan, Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas, Talha ibn Ubaydullah, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah, and the names keep on going and going, and something that we need to remember inshallah. And if you remember the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the famous hadith of Rasulullah, which is in Imam Tirmidhi brings it in the kitab of Sunan Tirmidhi. He actually narrates Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day said to the companions, and they were sitting, he said to Abu Bakr fil Jannah, and then he said Umar fil Jannah, and then he said Uthman fil Jannah, and then he said Ali fil Jannah, and then he said Talha fil Jannah, and then he said Az-Zubayr fil Jannah, and then he said Sa'ad fil Jannah, and then he kept on going and said Abu Ubaidah fil Jannah, Abdul Rahman fil Jannah, and then he said Sa'id fil Jannah. And this is Sa'id, the guy that we spoke about just a few days ago. His father was the man who actually Zayd ibn Amr ibn Nufayl, the man we said who was searching for the religion, and Sa'id ibn Zayd is actually his son. And if you were to speak about chronologically the way the names are mentioned, wallahi, no one actually superseded anyone. But if you really look at the way the names were mentioned, Sa'id was the last one to be mentioned, and actually he was the youngest one as well. Out of all the lot, he was actually the youngest, and he was even younger than Ali radiallahu anhu. And also, if you look at the stories, there are very few stories about Sa'id as well. And if you look at the ranks as well, Abu Bakr has, you need volumes upon volumes to speak about Abu Bakr. And you need Umar. Wallahi, a man that we need in today's time would be none other than Ibn al-Khattab. The man, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked for the dua for two Umars. He said one dua for Amr ibn Hashim, and this is none other than, we all know him, Abu Jahl. And then he asked for the other one was Umar ibn al-Khattab. He said, oh Allah, give hidayah to one of them, because they will make Islam strong. And Allah chose Umar ibn Khattab. So I want to start with Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas. And first, today we will speak about Abu Bakr as well, who he was. I have kept him for the end, because if I start crying, because if I mention his name, and if the tears do come to my eyes, I mean, this is someone who deserves that. And people who came to this religion because of Abu Bakr was Sa'ad. This is not Rasulullah giving da'wah to them. See, the man who Abu Bakr was, He heard about the Islam the night, and in the day he went to speak to people about the religion. It's not like us. If we heard about the religion, as long as I am okay, I'm alright, I don't have to worry about anyone, and we would probably do that. But this man was not like that. So the 6 people who came because of him, we will speak about all 6 of them. Uthman, Abdul Rahman, Sa'ad, Talha, Abu Ubaidah, and Az-Zubair. These are the 6 people that came because of him. The other, and the irony is that Umar ibn Khattab is not even the early Muslim. Did you know that? That's the irony. He's actually one of the, Ibn Sa'ad mentions he's a 60th Muslim. And Ibn Ishaq says he's the 50th Muslim. But whatever Muslim he is, what he achieved, he became Muslim after 5 years of da'wah. And he also persecuted Muslims. He was the one who was also persecuting Muslims. He was the one who actually beat his sister so bad, and his sister's married to Sa'id ibn Zayd. And he beat actually both of them in the house. He went to the house, he was going to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had the sword out, he was going to kill Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and one of the Sahabis saw him, and he had not declared his Iman. He said to him, "Where are you going?" He's saying, "I'm going to put an end to this Islam, so that no mother is now living without their children, and no wife has to worry about their husband converting to Islam, or no husband has to worry about this." So he said, "Why don't you go and deal with your sister first?" Because Fatima binti Khattab had become a Muslim. So why don't you go and deal with her first? So he goes, and the narration says that he goes and he beats them up. And at that time, Khabbab ibn Arat is there. He's actually teaching them Quran. He hides in the cupboard. Because Umar was not, see, if you want to know who Umar was, if Umar sat on a horse, his feet almost touched the ground. That's how tall he was. That's a big man. He's not a big friendly giant. We're speaking about this one's an enemy, like really an angry person. Whenever you speak about Umar, whenever I speak about Umar, I just keep on going on Umar. This is one of my role models. And even I do give him more precedence when it comes, but wallahi, we should not give anyone precedence when it comes to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. But I always speak about Umar in a very high regard. And I wanted to name one of my sons Umar, but my mother chose the first one, Ibrahim. The other one was, I wanted to name them Abdullah as well. So I said, if I name Umar, I don't know if I have another child, so I just named him Abdullah. So that was to be on the safe side. So, but today we'll start with Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas. Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas is related to Rasulullah through few ways, and also Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas is also one of the cousins of Amina binti Wahab. And so making her the cousin of Amina binti Wahab, you know who Amina binti Wahab is. I don't have to tell you who she is. So she's the mother of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that makes Sa'ad the Khal. In Arabic, the Khal is actually the brother, paternal. So we're coming from the maternal, the maternal uncle is the Khal. So he is also to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in relation, paternal or maternal uncle as well. But he's younger than Rasulullah, and he's way younger than Rasulullah. He, at the time when Nubuwwah came, his age was around 26 to 28, between that. So he's very young to Rasulullah as compared to the age. What it is said, Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas, if you looked at him, he was well built, not very tall, and he had a crop of hair. So what it means is he had thick hair, and they were very finely made, short and thick hair. If you looked at Sa'ad from a distance, he would look like a small lion. They looked like a lion. One of the things he was very famous for, archery. So he was very famous for that. And also you will know he was the archer of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also in one of the narrations, he's also known as the knight of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the only statement Rasulullah has said for anyone. Everyone would say, Fidaka ummi wa abi. But only one person Rasulullah said in the seerah, Fidaka ummi wa abi, was to Sa'd. And he said that because on the day of Uhud, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sa'd stood in front of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and kept on shooting the arrows one after the other. And he was just defending Rasulullah. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Fidaka ummi wa abi, Fidaka ummi wa abi. And then he was saying to Sa'd. And so, sorry? That my mother and father be sacrificed for you. Fidaka ummi wa abi. Sorry, I should have translated that. So he was saying that statement for Sa'd. But we always, when we say the name of Rasulullah, it's a sunnah to say. We should say this. Fidaka ummi wa abi Rasulullah. For Rasulullah. We should actually say this. There's something that should be on our tongues. But he actually said in the seerah for only one man, and that was Sa'd. And there was no other man. So how did Sa'd become a Muslim? Sa'd saw a dream. And in that dream, he saw it was really dark, and moon came out. With the light of the moon, it started illuminating. And with that illumination, that moon was going in a direction, and he started following that moon. When he reached where the moon has rested, there was already 3 people sitting under that light. And he looked closely, who were those 3 people? The first one was Abu Bakr Siddiq. And the second one was Ali ibn Abi Talib. And the third one was Zayd ibn Haritha radiallahu ta'ala ajma'in. 3 people were already sitting there. And he asked them, did you see that, when did you arrive here? They said, we've arrived only a moment ago. And we were the first ones to come here. This clearly shows that these 3 Sahabas were the early Muslims. So when the battle comes, who's the first Muslim? Just to make it easy, one was a slave, the first one, the other one was a child, and the other one was a grown-up man. So in that way, all 3 are the first Muslims, inshallah. But then I did mention you, Al-Afif al-Kindi, he mentioned there's a narration, and in that narration it clearly shows who were the first 2 people openly praying behind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One was right next to him was Ali ibn Abi Talib, and the one who was behind him, which was Khadija bint Khuwaylid. So Khadija bint Khuwaylid actually was his wife, and she was praying behind him. So one thing you need to also learn from the sunnah, if you are praying in the house, you should pray together as a family. The wife stands, imam is the son, or the father or the son. If he knows Quran, making the imam, that encourages the children to lead the salah as well. And if it's only 2 people in the house, so you stand right next to the imam. So now, mostly people think you have to stand behind the imam. Actually, you don't stand behind the imam. The hadith of Ibn at-Tirmidhi, if there's 2 people, you stand together. You actually don't stand behind the imam. Because we do not break culture, if I start doing that, people are going to think, who am I? Well, I'm creating something new. We don't know our religion that well. Even when 2 men pray together, you stand right next to each other. This is a sahih hadith. And Imam al-Bari rahimahullah ta'ala actually mentions this hadith. Yes. A man and a woman, I'm talking about man and a man. So a woman actually stands back. But there's only 2 men, you stand together. In our culture, you always see the second man actually stands slightly behind the man. Actually, that hadith is not even sahih. But you don't want to go and reinvent the wheel. When people are not know these things, you don't tell them, I'm telling you. You have to teach them slowly. I'll give you an example. If you are from Palestine, you had a great Imam, Abdullah ibn Azzam. 2 famous names. In one of the famous names, if you're Palestini, you will have a name Azzam. They love this name. You'll probably find in every house there's one Azzam. So Abdullah ibn Azzam was one of the famous Imams who actually migrated to Afghanistan in the time when it was an open call for jihad, when Saudi and everyone, they were fighting the Russians. And at that time he was the teacher in Medina University. So he went with his children and he migrated over there. In the culture of in Pakistan and Afghanistan, there's a culture, after salah there's a dua. This dua is part of the religion. If you don't make that dua, your salah is not complete. They think you have to now make the dua in order to make the salah again. So this is their culture. So when Abdullah ibn Azzam went there, Also in Afghanistan, if you move your finger in tashahhud, this is considered to be an evil act. They can even cut your finger doing that. So this is sunnah. But see, people follow culture most of the times. So Abdullah ibn Azam, when he led the salah, he actually did not say Ameen as well. When he led the salah, he did not do Rafa ul-Dain. So Rafa ul-Yadain is actually raising your hand when you're going to ruku and raising your hand when you're coming back from ruku. This is the sunnah of Rasulullah. You've got more than 40 hadith in Bukhari. For men, for women. Salah is like the similar for men and for women as well. So he did that. He did not do Rafa ul-Yadain, and he also did not move his finger, and he also did not say Ameen, and he made dua as well. He did that for 1 month. After 1 month, when people start knowing him and loving him, he did not say Ameen. He did Rafa ul-Dain as well. And also after that, he did not make dua. And then people understood. And then he said to people, he told them that this is how the sunnah of Rasulullah. See, one of the hadith is simple. Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. Very simple words in Arabic. Everyone understood that. Pray as you see me pray. So there we have the way of Rasulullah, how he prayed. So this is very important that we need to know. A lot of time culture is taking precedence over the religion. That's why in today's time our children are overburdened with salah. One of the things in Pakistani culture, when you start praying, they give you this long list of prayers, a lot of rakat, mashallah. The kids, when they hear this, they say, you know what, I was better not praying. So I'll give you the whole timetable, how it works. In Fajr, mashallah, it's 4, everyone agrees with 4. And then in Dhuhr, they've got 12. Actually, according to Sunnah, it's only 8. So 2 rakatain or 4. You can do whichever way. 4 sunnah, which is before qabl salah, which is before salah, and then you have the fard, which is 8. But then in the books that we have, when our parents give us, they say you have to do 12. So what happens is, now the kid is looking at, okay, I did 4 now, I've got to do another 12. Okay, alright. And so you go to now Asr. Asr, they're a bit easy. They say it's 4, it's okay, 4 is fine. But if you wanted to pray anything before that, there's no sunnah before that. But if you wanted to, that's okay, you can pray. There's no salah ba'd al-Asr or ba'd al-Fajr as well. There's no salah, we should not be praying after, unless it's very important. If it was Tahiyyatul Masjid or something like that, we should not pray till the sun comes up, and we should not pray till our Maghrib time comes. And then in Maghrib again, they have, which is 7. In Sunnah it was only 5, 3 and 2. And then the Isha, which is the big one. Now this is where the bomb is actually blown up on the children. Like, what is that? You've got 17. And he's like, what? 17? Yeah, you're going to pray 17. Okay, well, how does that work? You're going to pray 4 before 4, that's 8. You're going to pray another 2, another 2, and then after that you're going to pray Vitr, and after that you're going to pray another 2 as well. That's 17. And the child is like, you know what, this is too much. I'm not going to do this. So our kids, when you teach them salah, and I'm telling you, give them only fard. Make it easy for them. Make sunnah part of their lives, but slowly. Fara'id is very important. Let them know about the fard, and then keep on going slowly. Don't give them this 17 for Isha. Wallahi, my mother gave me 17. For when I was a kid, 17 was too much. No, I could, wherever I could, you know, I never prayed 17, I'll tell you all now. No, I hope my mother's not listening to that. But I could, wherever I could find loopholes, I did, you know. But to me, 17 never set well. 17, that number was very, very scary, yes.
How much is it in Isha?
I'd say
I've been 17 too.
in Isha, it's only 2 sunnahs.
Okay.
And there is witr. In witr, you have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. You can go with that. But now, the Hanafis might be thinking, how many witr is he saying? There's only 3 witr. Actually, witr is, the number is odd. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed. We have hadith of the Sahaba, they prayed one witr as well. And that's why in Saudi, when you say, look, see, they say, do not make witr like Maghrib. So mostly us, we have witr very similar to Maghrib. Witr should be only with one tashahhud if you're praying 3. And if you're not praying 3, then you pray like the Sunnah way, which is the common way. If you've gone to Saudi in Ramadan, which is 2 and 1. So they pray 2, they say salam, and they pray 1 only. I mean, if I tell my mother that, she'll probably think I've left Islam. So I never try over there. So basically, this is how it works. And you know, make it easy for the kids. My advice to you, I'm telling you, give folk to your children. Don't give them the 17, especially the night one. No one digests that. I mean, I didn't digest, I became a sheikh. Imagine if you're not going to become a sheikh, how are you going to digest that? It becomes very hard. So in Isha, it's 6, which is 2 sunnah, 4 fard, and then the witr. Again, when you're giving them the witr, tell them only do 1. Start with the least one, and then pile up on that and go to 3. So basically, one of the things is we need to understand that make things easy. Allah says in the Quran, when you read the ayahs of Sawm, when Allah starts the ayah, Shahru Ramadan, when He starts the ayah, in the middle of the ayah, Allah says, Yuridukum Allahu bikumul yusr. Allah actually mentioned that. You're going to be saying, now the youngsters are saying, I'm going to be fasting 30 days. Allah is saying, He only wants ease for me. What's the ease in there? I'm not going to be eating. I'm not going to be drinking. How's that ease in there? So, ease is what? If Allah wanted you to fast, Allah would have made you fast the whole year. Allah is saying, just fasting those days, that how much elevated you will be. And actually, in the Kitab al-Mustadrak, Hakim al-Mustadrak, one fast takes you 70 years away from Jahannam. How many years? 70. 70 years from Jahannam. If you fasted the whole Ramadan, that's 2,100 years away from hellfire. So imagine you were driving in a Ferrari, it would take you 2,100 years to get to hellfire. That's a long distance. So that's why Allah only wants ease for us. He does not want any hardship for us. So basically, Sa'd, very quickly, he was from a very rich, noble family, as you understood. And also he, all the people that I'm going to say today, they all are from Quraysh. You know, Fihr is Quraysh. So they all somehow relate to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he's from Banu Zuhra as well. And so, you know, Banu Zuhra is a tribe of Amina binti Wahab, and Banu Zuhra relates to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after Qusay. So if you go back up, he's related to Rasulullah even from the father's side. He's related to Rasulullah in the 4th generation. 4th grandfather, he will be linked to Rasulullah anyways. So now, you know, when he was growing up, he always had these questions about the corrupted beliefs. You know, looking at the people worshipping idols and, you know, doing the things which were against Islam, it never fit in right with him. Always he was asking these questions. That, you know, what's happened? When he saw this dark moon illuminate and when this dream came to him, after that, when he woke up, right after that it is said, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq came to see him. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said that, do you know, As-Sadiq Al-Amin has come as a prophet, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him to us so that we could purify Quraysh, so that we could purify and be the people that are the ones who actually worship Allah and be the muwahideen. Muwahid is the one who worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know, one of the du'as we should always make, that you know, that Allahumma Ansur al-Islam wal-Muwahideen, that Allah, you know, makes this religion successful, and Muwahideen, the ones who actually worship Allah. So that Allah makes them successful, inshallah. Ameen. So he says that one of the things when Abu Bakr came to me, my dream was so fresh in my mind that I became Muslim straight away. And I did not have to think any ifs or buts. I asked some questions, but then I became Muslim after that, and I went to see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm not going to mention too much details about all the Sahabas, but I'll mention their becoming Muslim, those incidents, so that you know how they came. Within the seerah, as we progress, we will talk about their stories, because all of them have some roles to play within the seerah. And so, basically, it is said that when he became a Muslim, he loved his mother a lot. And his mother told him that if you do not denounce the religion of of Muhammad and come back to the religion of your forefathers, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to drink, and I'm going to sit out in the sun. And people will come and they will say to you that what kind of a child you are, that you put your mother through that misery. And now Sa'ad is looking at this. First day comes, the mother does not eat, does not drink the whole day. And Sa'ad comes and he shows respect to the mother. When he says, he does not say anything and he leaves. And the mother is asking, did you denounce? He said, I'm not going to denounce the religion. And the second day, she is also sitting the same way. She does not want to eat, does not want to drink, and she is losing health. You know, you can see the signs on the people's face. You know, when we fast, you see the signs on our face, half day we're already dying. And the other signs that you see on our face, we start swearing. We're angry, we become angry. SubhanAllah. So fasting makes that so that you could become لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you have taqwa. First thing, when we start fasting, we become angry. As if our wife is not giving us food, so we get angry on the wives. We'll get angry on the children, everything. We're so angry. And so she's also thinking. And the third day, she's half dead now. You know, without water, you cannot survive now. She's half dead. And Sa'ad comes to the mother. He understands. And Sa'ad tells the mother that, oh mom, even if Allah gave you 100 lives, even every time you died, I'm not going to believe in you. So you're wasting your time. Go and drink and eat. I will never denounce the religion of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I will never denounce the religion. The mother got the point and she went, and later on it is said the mother did become a Muslim, but wallahu alam, we don't have many detailed story about that, but yes, she left her strike and she went and she ate because she understood. Because the way when the sun came, and in Quran as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now the children have to listen to this very carefully. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the children that even if your parents are the ones who tell you to worship other gods and tell you to do things, you do not listen to them in that case, but you still be dutiful to them. You have to show them ihsan. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنَ إِحْسَانًا. That you have to still be dutiful. You have to still listen to them. You still have to obey them. But when they tell you to worship another god or to do things which is against Islam, that's the only thing which you do not do. So how important it is that we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is tied with us that we will be dutiful to our parents. And now comes the second person. And this again is from the works of Abu Bakr Siddiq. This is none other than Abdurrahman ibn Auf. It is said he had the names Abu Amr, or he had the name Abu Harith, or he had the name which is the most authentic narration, that his name was Abdul Ka'bah. That's the most authentic one, that his name was. Abdul Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam changed his name and he gave him the name Abdul Rahman. The two names Allah loves the most in the authentic hadith is Abdullah and Abdul Rahman. It's Abdullah and Abdul Rahman. See, I told you I only had one more chance to name my son, so that's why I named him Abdullah. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to please Allah as well. So Abdullah and Abdul Rahman have synonymous meaning. Allah is only Rahman. You cannot give your son a name Rahman. In our communities, again, because we're not Arabs, you must be thinking I'm racist. Actually, I'm Pakistani, not racist. But in our communities, we name our kids Rahman, not knowing Rahman is only Allah. It's actually a wrong name to give to a child. You never call a child Rahman. And that's why, alhamdulillah, with the Arabs, they understand the language, they would never call their son Rahman. So it's always Abdul Rahman. So that's what his name is. So he was given the name Abdul Rahman. Now I want to give you a mind-boggling fact about Abdul Rahman. You think, and this was recently done in Saudi, Arab News actually calculated his wealth, the amount of gold coins and the silver coins and dinars and dirhams he had. You probably think Jeff Bezos or whatever you want to call him, the guy who runs Amazon, is the most richest person. You probably think his wealth was calculated up to 150 billion. It was around that much, well, very recently. Did you know Abdul Rahman's wealth, when Arab News actually converted the dinars and all that, it was more than 550 billion American dollars. More than 550 billion American dollars. And one of the kids in year 10 asked me, because Muhammad's sitting here, and Luway, they're my students, and they have ijazah, not to give seerah, but ijazah to other things. So basically, one of them asked, well, how did he protect his wealth? So did he have guards or anything like that? Did he have a safe or anything? Actually, I had no safe or anything. And this is how these people were not worried about their wealth. They were more worried about pleasing Allah. Today, Jeff Bezos he keeps all his income in Swiss bank because he's more worried about his income. But Abdul Rahman was never worried. The most generous people in Quraysh, you know, it is said about Abdul Rahman, he ran the economy of Quraysh. When he was leaving, Quraysh gave him an option to either take the money with him, and do not take the money, and if he wants the money, he has to stay over here. And if he wants to leave, then he has to leave all the money behind. He actually left everything behind. When he came to Medina, he did not even have proper clothing to wear. Even to the point that Rasulullah had to give him a kafil. Like he had to give him a sponsor. And who was the sponsor? None other than one of the greatest Ansari, Sa'ad ibn Rabi'ah. Now I'm telling to the brothers, if you do have two wives, don't do what Sa'ad ibn Rabi'ah did. He actually says to Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, he said, I've got two wives, I'll divorce one and you marry that. So I'm telling the brothers, don't do that if you are becoming a kafir. And he said, I've got two orchards, I'll give you one of them. And if it was even me, I'm not even telling you it was one of you, it was even me, if I had that prospect, I'll say, yeah, give me one of your house, give me one of the orchards, so I'll have an easy life. What did, Abdul Rahman say? He said, Ayn as-suq, where's the market? He did not say, yes, I want all that, give me all that. Today, we're opportunistic, if we get all that, we'll say, yeah, give me that. Well, he said, where's the market? And they told him where the market was, and it is said within days, Rasulullah saw him, within days. He had this, it was like an orange thing on his face, a little mark, and that was something that the women used to wear. Like a henna or something. And then Rasulullah ﷺ told him, did you marry to him? And he said, yeah, I'm married. And he said, what did you give your wife in mahar? And he said, I gave a gold necklace or a gold coin, I can't remember exactly. So he said gave something gold. So it shows how Allah, the barakah, the dua of Rasulullah, that he became a billionaire after that. And these people were not moved. Even he was a billionaire, he was first one in the saf when Rasulullah was leading the salah. Even he was a billionaire who was in Badr. He was a billionaire, he was in Uhud. Every battle Rasulullah went, this billionaire was there. Today the billionaires are not here in the salah when it comes to Isha, when it comes to Fajr. How many billionaires go and attend the masjid? I mean, that's something for a billionaire to think about. And this is a billionaire who was always there in the masjid. So, you know, when he was hearing about this, when Abu Bakr as-Siddiq went to him, and he said, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, see, he was going to the people noble and the ones he knew were good at heart. So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq knew everyone. In Mecca, he was a famous man. He was also a trader. He would travel. He knew everyone. He went to Abdurrahman ibn Auf and he said, there is a man, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, who's from Banu Abdul Muttalib. You all know him, As-Sadiq al-Amin. And he said, when he came to him, he said, take me to Dar al-Arqam. And Dar al-Arqam is the first masjid. It's the house of Arqam ibn Abil Arqam. Arqam ibn Abil Arqam as well, I'll mention his seerah as well, how he came to Islam. So he was the first place where people would come. And this is where people would sit down and they would learn about religion. And he went there and he accepted Islam straight away. After hearing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after putting his questions forward, he agreed to Islam straight away. And also after that, because he was not very powerful in Quraysh, because when the persecution started, he had to migrate to Habasha. So he migrated to Habasha. And then after that he came back when he heard, because he could not stay away from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he came back and he stayed in Mecca till the Hijrah, the news of the Hijrah came. So now, Abu Bakr, I'll leave him till the end because this is my favorite, inshallah. So now, we come to Talha ibn Ubaidullah. Talha ibn Ubaidullah is a man that we should know, another amazing man, and he's a cousin of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. They're from Banu Taym. Banu Taym is a very noble tribe in Mecca. They are from Quraysh as well. They meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the sixth grandfather. So that's where they meet, and they all are Qurayshis. Remember, whatever tribe they come from, they are Qurayshis. Apart from the ones we know, Bilal bin Rabah, and we'll talk about the other guys today as well. But then when Talha ibn Ubaidullah, again, is a very, a man of honor, a man of integrity, and he was the man who was actually traveling in those days, and he was in Basra. Remember, Basra is where the monk was. You all remember? And this is not the Basra in Iraq. This is Basra, which is a place in Sham, and this is where the monks were. And so if you remember, we spoke about, when Buhayra was the one who actually gave the glad tiding to Abu Talib about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was there for trade. And when he arrived over there, he met a monk in the market, and he said, in Arabia, this is the time when a prophet will be coming out, and he will be calling to his religion. And now when Talha ibn Ubaidullah hears that, and he said, I am from that tribe, and he mentioned that after that he will leave that place and he will migrate to the volcanic lands. And if you don't know, Medina actually was the volcanic lands, and this is where, when they went to the Battle of Khandaq, these were the mountains which were actually protecting them, and then the orchards, and where you find the date palm. So Medina is a place which is much more cooler as compared to Mecca. Mecca is dry, hot, exactly like the people in Medina. Exactly like the people in Mecca. Mecca actually is very dry, very hot, and even the people of Mecca, and the real inherited, I'll tell you my own personal experience, the people of Mecca are very tough, rough and tough. Even the shurta which stands on the gate, they're very rough and tough. So even if the masjid is empty and you're going for Jum'ah Salah, you are late by a minute or so when they close the gate, you tell them you want to go in, hurrah. They'll tell you to go. And that's how they are, they're rough and tough. Remember, these are the children of Abu Jahl, Walid ibn Mughira, Utbah ibn Walid. These all are the children of those people, and they are over there. Medina is very calm, mashallah. Even the shurta and the people over there are very calm. Very great city. Even when you are bargaining with the people, even if you don't know the language, they'll make you happy. They'll bargain with you. In Mecca, they say on your bike if you want to bargain with them. They'll tell you on your bike. Go to the next place. And this is a personal experience, and when you go to Mecca and Medina, you will find that yourself. And even when you're doing tawaf, people are coming, they're hitting you, And you know, you have these groups, the gangs, they come in Tawaf, you'll find gangs. Like there's a gang who guards Hajar Aswad. If you're not from that gang, you can never kiss it. You know, they have this group, they all go and they're kissing one after the other. The mother's kissing, the father's kissing everyone from the same gang. If you're not from there, they'll just push you away. That's how it works. So now, Talha ibn Ubaydullah is hearing all this. So when he hears about this news, so he's like, I don't want to be left out. Why shouldn't I go and experience it firsthand? So he takes all his camels or whatever he's brought for trade, and he does not do any trade, and he returns back to Mecca. As soon as he returns back to Mecca, he confronts his family member, who else? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq comes and he starts telling him, he's saying, don't you understand what we are believing in these idols? They give nothing to us, they do not harm us, they don't do any favor to us, they will give us no benefit, and if we were to harm them, they can't even save themselves. And he's giving him placing an argument while he's talking to them, to Talha. At that point in time, Rasulullah passes. And when he looks at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then and there, after Abu Bakr as-Siddiq's already spoken to him, he accepts Islam straight away. And this is also, it is said that he, you know, when it is said, when people say only poor people were coming to Islam, this is a lie on Islam. These are the cream of Mecca, of Quraysh. These are the noble people. Even the mother of Talha was so, you know, she was so sad and she was so angry that she said, I was waiting for you to grow up so you could become the leader of the Quraysh, and we were looking at you to become the leader. How can you believe in Muhammad, the one who is taking everyone away from the families? So she was so angry on Talha. And these early people, and wallahi I say that, if they look at the early people, they were the cream of Quraysh. Every person that we spoke about just till now, Abdurrahman, and we spoke about Sa'd, these are all cream of Quraysh. They're the ones who actually are the ones who were giving benefit to this religion. Can you imagine who they were, what their character was? So now, wealthy people. And so, no sooner when this happened, and his mother, Sa'ba binti Hadrama, she was one of the leaders of Banu Taym as well, and she ordered Nawfal ibn Khuwaylid. And now this name sounds familiar, Khuwaylid, right? Nawfal ibn Khuwaylid is actually related to Khadija binti Khuwaylid, and it's a brother who actually starts persecuting Talha, and to that level that he starts harming him, and even then Talha does not denounce the religion and he carries on. See, early Islam had a lot of persecution. These people were being persecuted. None of me and you, we have seen nothing. The only persecution sometimes we see is the words of our parents. Pray, pray, and we feel that's a persecution. And the children, I mean, the ones who sit over here, the youngsters. For us, the persecution is when today I persecuted my son. You know, my son's, your children will never study from you. So we've got someone who teaches him Quran, who is riding a bike. You know, he's so happy because he can ride his bike. I'm one of those fathers who never taught my kids riding a bike, so we only started that regime, yes, a couple of days ago. Two are already frustrated, they're kicking the bikes. The other one learned how to ride a bike. So today he was very happy, flying in the air, and I said, you know, your time is now ready. He's like, I'm not going to read. And I started persecuting him with my words. And I said, you know what, you're always a problem. You never come for Salah. Your younger one comes for Salah when we're praying. You don't read Quran. I want you to become a Hafiz, lead Salah. He's like, I don't want to lead Salah. And I'm like, okay. So, you know, this is the persecution sometimes. And we are to be, sometimes we also have to be very kind and use the right words with our kids. But with the emotion, we become very angry as well. So I was very angry, you know. After that, after giving him the guilt trip, he just went and he started reading, and he said, close the door. And I'm like, no one's in the house, everyone's riding the bike outside. So no, close the door. So I stayed outside the door to listen if he's online and if he's reading, and he's doing the right thing. And he was doing the right thing, but I understood that I shouldn't have taken the path I did But then eventually it did work, but personally myself, I know it's not going to work for long. So I have to work out a time when he's enjoying as well. When he's not enjoying, then I should. Also, that's an advice. So when the kids don't feel that you're being persecuted, because what persecution is today, you'll find out. There are many other stories I have to mention, which will tell you what real persecution was. So after that, he migrates. He was one of the last to migrate to, Medina when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives the order, and he did not have to migrate to Abyssinia. Why? Because Banu Taym, as I already said, was a strong tribe, and even though initially the parents and they were not happy with their children coming to Islam, later on they understood their children were not going to change. And again, these were the people of status, so they didn't want to persecute them and keep on going on those things. So Talha came to Islam. This was the way how he came to Islam. Now, I'm going to talk about a man who was known for his bravery. His bravery was unmatched, and his dedication to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was unmatched. He was the third youngest Sahaba to come to Islam. And he was related to Rasulullah through two ways. He was the son of Awam, and Awam is the brother of Khadija. And that's how he was related to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And again, he was related to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Safiya. And Safiya is the mother of this man. And this man is none other than Az-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam. Now this is another giant of Sahaba. They said about him also when he sat, one of the narrations, no exaggeration, probably might be like Luay because he's really tall in the school as well. Luay, actually his name is Luay, which is the great-great-grandfather of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But subhanAllah, we live in Australia, Luay became Luay. As you know, the names keep on changing. They've taken different parts. So we can definitely, when Luay actually stands up, you see, he probably resembles to Zubayr ibn Awam in his probably the height, because it said Zubayr ibn Awam, when he sat on a camel, his feet would almost touch the ground. Man, when you sit on a camel, it's like you're on a first story building. If you fall off the camel, it's definitely going to break some of your bones. And this man, his feet almost touching the ground. And that's Zubayr ibn Awam. It said in the seerah, only two men could hold a sword in their both hands and ride and control the horse at a fast pace. One was Zubayr, the other one was Khalid ibn Walid, radiallahu anhu. Khalid ibn Walid was another person, and again, he was not one of the ones who came to Islam. He came to Islam very late. He came to Islam after 17 years of Islam. 17. That's a very long time. So he came to Islam even after Rasulullah had migrated, and he even fought with Rasulullah in a battle. And when he fought with Rasulullah, that's why Khalid ibn Walid has a clean record. And this is from Allah. Allah named him Sayfullah. He was Sayfullah. He fought Rasulullah, and in that battle Muslims lost. And Khalid ibn Walid was victorious on that day. And this is why Khalid ibn Walid, when he was old, he was actually court-martialed by his own relative, who was a Khalifa at the time. And that Khalifa was no other than Umar ibn Khattab. Now you must be thinking, court-martialed, I mean someone who's relieved from the duties of military, just without any reason. Because Umar was a muwahid. And why did Umar bring him back from that? Because people started believing that we win battles because of Khalid ibn Walid. And Umar got angry. Umar sent a letter to Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah, Amr ibn Jarrah. We're going to speak about this man today. He said to him, go, and as soon as you get there, give this letter to Khalid and tell him to come back on the same horse that you have taken to go to him. And even if he's holding the sword, tell him not to fight anymore. Because we win battles because of Allah, not because of Khalid. And this was the Iman of Umar. Umar had, again, it's not the day for Umar, so I'm not going to go there as well. So, anyways, so he was one of those three people. When they were leaving Mecca, he made an announcement to Quraysh: if you want your mothers and fathers to be orphans without children, and if you want your wives to be widows, then come and fight me. And that was only three people who said that. One was Hamza, the other one was Umar, again Umar, sorry, I have to mention him, and the third one was Az-Zubayr ibn Awwam, radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. And so it's said that he had a very difficult time. So very fast forward, when he came to Islam, his uncle would wrap him up. His upbringing was also very difficult, because Safiya, if you know, Safiya was a warrior in itself. Safiya bint Abdul Muttalib was actually the aunt of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And on that day, when it is said that Banu Qurayza were the ones who actually got into one of the places where the women and they were kept over there. One of those people who entered that fort, Safiya fought that man and killed him. So Safiya was a fierce, but you know, she was a woman, like she was growing as Zubayr like that. It was he put so much into harsh conditions, as if she was getting him ready for a battle that was coming. And that's how harsh conditions they gave. And I told you, the Arabs wanted their kids to be tough and rough, and that's how they grew their kids. They did not want them to be soft. And today, lying on the couch and the mother feeding the child, eat potatoes, my son, and he's holding the iPad in the other hand, does not know what's going inside the mouth. We grow our children like that, trust me. You know, if one thing happens, someone says to the child in the school, the teacher said, try to discipline the child. You see the mother and the father both running and opening the barrage on the principal. How dare that teacher say something to my child? We've never said him. Well, because guess what? You never said him anyway in your life. That's why he turned out to be like this. So if you stopped him from being what he is today, then the teachers wouldn't be doing those jobs for you. And subhanAllah, one of the most difficult profession today is the teacher's job. I tell you that. You're criticized every now and then, and exactly the Imam's position is the same as well. You can't keep everyone happy. If you are somehow a mu'allim, somehow, you're always the most one who's criticized. A teacher, you're always criticized. So, it is said that because his punishment, one of his punishment was, you know those mats which are made out of straw? You've probably seen them, those straw mats. The ones, so they would wrap him up in that, his uncle, and he would tie him upside down, and he would beat him up. And he would tell him, denounce your religion. Denounce the religion of Muhammad. And that's how Zubayr ibn Awwam was beaten up. And wallahi, this man has a lineage that is a blessed lineage from all over. He married a girl that was one of the best in Makkah at that time. And guess what? Who was that girl? The daughter of Abu Bakr Siddiq, Asma binti Bakr. So he married that. And guess what? He had a child that was again the blessed, Abdullah ibn Zubayr. So Allah gave him so much. And he was heroic right from the start. He was a hero. When they went to Habasha, because he went to Habasha, there were some people who were going through difficult times, so they had to go away. So when he went to Habasha, there's a narration about him. When Najashi was actually challenged by one of the people across the Nile, and so Najashi was fighting for his kingdom, and the Muslims were scared that what's happening, if Najashi loses, we will lose sponsorship. We'll have no kafala. So what happened? They said, we want to find out. If he loses, then we can pack our bags and go back somewhere else. So they said, who's going to volunteer? Zubayr ibn Awwam volunteered. And they said over there they had these life jackets. What was a life jacket? They had the skin of water, they blew it up and they tied it on his chest. And he swam all the river Nile from Egypt. River Nile is not a small river. We're going from one side to another, from shore to shore. And he crossed there to see the battle. And he saw everything till Najashi won, and he came back. And he said, Alhamdulillah, Najashi has won and we don't have to leave this place. And another thing I told you, he is the neighbor of Rasulullah in Jannah. It's not Ali, it's not Umar, it's not Abu Bakr Siddiq, it's not Osman, they're not the neighbors. The jar of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Talha, and the other one is Zubair ibn Awam. And why Zubair ibn Awam? Because Zubair ibn Awam is the one who was the first one to raise the sword for the sake of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he heard Rasulullah is being beaten or he was killed, he ran all the way. I told you he was a kid. Some narrations 15, 14, 12, whatever you want to take it. You've got a 15-year-old, 13, 14-year-old kid sitting over here. Today we cannot defend our own mum and dad. I'm being honest. You know, we cannot defend our own father and mother. Sometimes we get humiliated. You know, I don't want to say this, but I say this. If we speak from an accent, our children get annoyed. You know, I can put on many accents, I'll tell you that. So, whenever I speak in an accent, my son gets annoyed. Oh, can you speak properly? I'm like, that's properly, mate. I'm Pakistani, speak like that. Say, no, you don't speak like that. So they get annoyed and they get embarrassed. Today our kids get embarrassed because, and this is a man who brought a sword, and a 13 and a 14-year-old brought a sword, who was dragging it, could not even lift it. Some of the narration says, could not lift it. Swords were not like, imagine there are kids of today as well. The 20-year-old to tell you to lift a sword and fight for hours. You're probably going to have a new hand after a few minutes. They were heavy swords. Now, I'll just give you an example. Hamza's sword would slice a man like an apple. You could cut a man into half. You got a lot of bones there. From the head all the way will cut a man into half with one blow. That's Hamza. Imagine lifting up a sword and then doing that. And these are Sahabas, the Iman. Well, we're not telling you guys, it's being recorded, imagine ASU comes around. We're not telling anyone to slice anyone. We're just remembering our history, just to clarify it to the bosses if they'll be listening later on. And we're just mentioning our history. It's like you were mentioning the history of John and other people who came, the Crusades. Very similar to that history. So, going back to, we have to clarify, we live in a time where they say freedom of speech, but there is definitely no freedom of speech. If you're a man with a beard, there's no freedom of speech. I tell you that. If you have a beard like me, they definitely don't have any freedom. So, very quickly, now let's move to Abu Ubayd ibn Jarrah, Amir. His name is Amir, and he's commonly known as Abu Ubayd ibn Jarrah. And basically, it is said that about him, I'll give you one thing about him. When Najran, the Christians of Najran came, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's the Ameen of the Ummah. That's his title, the trustworthy of the Ummah. Rasulullah said, tomorrow I will give you a man after Dhuhr, a man who is honest and a man who is strong. And Umar ibn Khattab, sorry, I'm not doing it intentionally. So Umar ibn Khattab now says, I was very excited. It was not like I wanted to be one of those people, but I wanted to hear, why did Rasulullah use some strong words? And I wanted to be like that. Time for Dhuhr came, I was sitting right next to Rasulullah, he's looking around, I'm putting my neck up. So I'm trying to move, so he spots me, maybe I'm that person. But then Rasulullah says, where is Abu Ubayd Amir? And when he said that, Umar says, on that day I realized how virtuous is Abu Ubayd ibn Jarrah. And guess what, guys? When Umar was alive, if he said Abu Ubaidah was alive, I would not have chosen Ashura to choose the next Khalifa. I would have made Abu Ubaidah the next Khalifa. Did you know that? He actually said, if Abu Ubaidah was alive, I would have made him the next Khalifa even without going to the Shura. And what happened to Abu Ubaidah? He died before Umar died, because he died in a plague. And the fiqh of plague is that if there is a plague in a city where you are, then you don't leave the city. Because if you're infected, then you may give that disease to others. But if you left before it hit, that's okay. And if you don't go back to that city as well. So Abu Ubaidah knew that. He knew the sunnah of Rasulullah. These are the Sahaba. And he was not infected. But when plague hit Sham, when he was a governor, he did not leave the city. And he died with that plague. So again, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah was one of the early ones to accept Islam. And basically, when he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, again, Abu Bakr Siddiq came to him and he told him about this religion, and he accepted Islam after hearing what Abu Bakr Siddiq had to say. And remember, Abu Bakr Siddiq is going to the people who are noble with good character, and they're the ones who are always, they stand up against the beliefs of Quraysh. In their hearts, they've got a scratch. They don't agree with what's happening in Quraysh, and they're going through all this every day, and so they want to stand up against this religion. So when he heard from Abu Bakr, he believed straight away. And again, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah also was the man who was persecuted a lot, and so he had to migrate to Habasha as well. He's also one of those people who migrated to Habasha, and he went to Habasha, but again, he could not yin without Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He returned back to Mecca, and he stayed till the Hijrah came, and he went all the way there. And now I want to speak about a man who was soft, who was generous, who was the man who was known for his humility, and who was also one of the rulers of Muslim. And guess what, guys? This is a man who is the most criticized in the whole seerah. The man who is the most criticized. When people talk about him, they always say he was a soft man, he gave power to his relatives, and he did this, he did that, he was not this, he was not that. And there's many criticisms about this man. This man's none other than Usman ibn Affan. Usman ibn Affan, wallahi, people, if you hear about this man, he was barred to pray in the Masjid of Rasulullah. Did you know who expanded the Masjid of Rasulullah? He was the one who expanded the Masjid of Rasulullah. It was a very small masjid and it stayed like that in the time of Abu Bakr, in the time of Umar, but he was the one who expanded it. He was barred to drink water. He's the one who bought water in Medina for the Muslimin. He gave 100,000 gold coins to buy Bir Ruma, which is the well which is still there in Medina. This is the well that he bought from that Jew. And so Muslims could drink water, they didn't have to pay him. And he was barred to have water. He's the man who gave food to the poor. And he was barred to eat food as well. And he saw a dream. And in that dream, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, "Oh Usman, they buy you from food?" And he said, "Yeah, na'am ya Rasulullah." They said, "Buy you from drink?" And he said, "Na'am ya Rasulullah." They even buy you from going and praying in the Masjid of Rasulullah? And he said, "Na'am ya Rasulullah." He said, "Tomorrow you will break your fast with us." And he died while fasting. And subhanAllah, while he died, he was reading Quran at that time. That Quran is still in the museum of Turkey, whereas his wife at that time was trying to stop the sword and her fingers were also chopped off. And he was killed, his blood is on that Quran. And he was a Khalifa of the Muslimin at that time. And his kingdom was as far as you can imagine. His kingdom was as far as east as you can go to a subcontinent and Sindh in Pakistan is. His kingdom was as far in north in China and in North Africa, Central Asia up there. And then if you go in the west, his kingdom was even as far as expanded to what we have today, Algeria, and even beyond where Egypt is. And when he went to the south, his kingdom was as far as where Yemen is. And even then, this man had a difficulty in order to practice his religion. And he was a noble man. He was a noble, everyone knew him, trustworthy, a rich man. He bought so many things for Islam. And a man was really criticized. And he was very close to Abu Bakr Siddiq. Abu Bakr Siddiq went to him and he told him about the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He heard it and he accepted Islam. And guess what, guys? When I spoke about two sons of Abu Lahab last week, I said Utbah and Utayba. They were married to two daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Usman heard about the divorce of Ruqayya, he went to Rasulullah and he said, I will marry Ruqayya. And Rasulullah, it said, Khadija radiallahu anha was very happy. And she was excited that Usman would marry Khadija. And people criticized that, where was Usman in the battle? Where was Usman in the battle of Badr? Usman was burying his wife when the battle of Badr was happening in Medina. And Rasulullah told him to do that. And that's where he was. If people want to know, often people say where he was there. And Usman, again, was a noble man, related to Rasulullah, not far like other people in the 5th or the 6th generation. You know those two people, Umayyah, one of the brothers, and you know the other one is Hashim. Usman is from the Umayyah clan, which is Abu Sufyan, which is Muawiyah, which is all the other people. And Usman is the cousin of Abu Sufyan, because his father is Affan, and Abu Sufyan is actually his father is Harb. So they're two. And again, this is one of the things in Islam which is called Tahweelul Ism. So basically to change the names which are harsh and tough names. And this is something the Arabs used to have back in the days. Names like Himar, names like Batta, names like Jahash, names like Harb. And all these were tough names. And Saqar. These names were tough names. So Rasulullah came with the religion to change these names, to give your children good names. Like for example, Hassan and Hussein, their names were Saqar and Harb. So he changed their names. Ali actually was a warrior, Ali radiallahu anhu. He named Hassan, he named him Harb, and the other one was Saqar. So he actually changed their names and he said, give them good names. So this was, Tahweelul Ism was actually part of the Sunnah, to change the names. That's why when our kids hear the names today, when we say Zainab binti Jahash, everyone's smiling, laughing. I mean, because these were the names that the Arabs used back then. But we should not be ascribing the poor thing. We had someone in our school, one of the admin members, her name was Batta. And I only found that out towards the last year, because I always thought her name was Bata, until they told me the actual name. But in English, you never know if it's a Bata or a Bata, well, until some other person said it was Bata. So people who are thinking what Bata is, it's a duck. So poor thing, you have these names which should not be actually kept. So this was Usman. Many things could be said about Usman, and this is who Usman is. And very quickly now moving to the slaves. So I don't think so we've got much time left. But you know what, I'm actually going to mention Bilal. Bilal is something I wanted to mention. Bilal is the worst in the society. How's that? He was black. He was slave. He was someone who had no support in Quraysh. He was someone who was always known as slave. He was someone who was never regarded as someone who will ever have a weight. Someone who was looked upon, someone the most lowest in the society. So in the Arab society, if you were black, you were the lowest. And if you were a slave, you were actually more just sinking in the ground. And on top of that, if you were a female, then you have no weight whatsoever. But Bilal, the only thing he did not have to his resume was he was not a female, he was a male. And even then he was one of the lowest in the society. And when Bilal heard the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wanted to believe in his message, and straight away he knew that this was right. And he was the slave of none other than Umayyah ibn Khalf. Umayyah ibn Khalf was an evil man who actually even changed the religion of his own best friend, Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt. Remember this name, Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt. This is a man who actually at one time became a Muslim. And this is what friendship does to you. Now very quickly, I'm actually going to finish on Bilal. I'm actually not going to mention Abu Bakr Siddiq, I'll save him for a good time. So, I do think if I mention Abu Bakr Siddiq, I might get emotional today. So, already I'm getting emotional talking about these people. Wallahi, if you look at them, Allah chose them to be with Rasulullah and to bring them from different places. Some of them traveled to Mecca to be there and to hear the message. And those who inshallah we're going to hear them next week, Khabab ibn Arat, Ammar ibn Yasir. Ammar ibn Yasir, actually his father came Yasir from faraway land to Mecca. Allah brought them there and they came over there and they were the ones who got this message. And these were the ones that Allah chose. And imagine, Allah made it easy for me and you to accept this religion and to follow this religion. We woke up, we opened our eyes in Islam, and even then we have many questions, which I do not say that you should not have questions. But when you should hear the stories of these people, you should understand that they also have many questions. For a person who had whatever they can, I mention all these names, they're all noble. Talha, Uthman, they're the rich people. Imagine, these are the people in Castle Hill, for you guys to understand, they live in Double Bay. I did my research. Double Bay is actually one of the most prestigious places in Sydney to live. It's like Knightsbridge in UK. If you're from Knightsbridge, you're loaded. You've got money. Those areas, Knightsbridge and all these areas, even people who live in Walthamstow, we have to travel an hour to get out to these places. So, we have this lovely Victoria line, and we sit on this Victoria line, and guess what? It doesn't even go to Knightsbridge. Because we poor people have to change, we have to connect to another, either take a bus, or get off at King's Cross or Euston and then take another train to go to Knightsbridge. Why I say that? Because when I was in, when I was in UK, I used to work in Knightsbridge McDonald's. Anyone was thinking, this Sheikh used to work at McDonald's, well, when we were kids, we worked everywhere. So Knightsbridge McDonald's I used to work, and it was, Pakistanis was a big thing. Why? Because Harrods had Krispy Kreme, not like you guys, you've got Krispy Kreme everywhere. We only had Krispy Kreme in Harrods. People love Krispy Kreme donuts, and my family members would always tell me, you're going to Knightsbridge and you bring Krispy Kreme on the way back. So for me, I used to come back on this night bus. Again, subhanAllah, this night bus also did not come to Walthamstow directly. I had to again change to White Hart, Tottenham Hale. It actually came all the way to Tottenham Hale. So that's where I used to change from. And it's amazing how you guys say Tottenham. How do you say it? Tottenham. Well, we need to teach them how to say that word. Yeah, so anyways, so it's amazing how we need to remember how that these people were living in Double Bay. For you guys, Double Bay. So Talha was from Double Bay. He had a house over there. Saad also lived in Double Bay. Abu Ubaidah also lived in Double Bay somewhere. Abdurrahman ibn Auf was also from Double Bay, from Knightsbridge, if you like that name. And Hyde Park, you probably heard Hyde Park, that word. It's actually very close to Knightsbridge. So all these people were living in Double Bay. Now you're telling him that if you believe in this messenger, then you're going to be shipped out to Mount Druitt. They're going to be shipped out to Mount Druitt. They're going to have no standing whatsoever. Now, for a sane mind, I'm not going to give my air conditioner away. I don't know if Mount Druitt, if I'm going to rent, there'll be any house over there, even if they've got fans over there. You know, when we migrated to UK, personally, in the early days, because I did not go as I wasn't born there, I went as a child. So when I went there, you know, coming from overseas, we've got fans on the ceiling. You arrived over there, there's no fans in the house, and I'm going, what are the fans, you know? Don't you guys have fans? It's a hot summer as well. Hot again is not very hot, but for people who are used to these fans, and you see these panels on the wall, you guys don't have it over here, and they've got little vents coming up, and that's heaters. So I'm like, what is this? Maybe something, you know, you hang your clothes or something. You've got too many of them. So imagine that you're shipping them out to Mount Druitt, or even St. Mary's or somewhere there. You don't even want to go there. You don't even stop for Salah over there. And so these people gave all their lives. Why? They were not worried about where they were being shipped out to. Not worried whatsoever. They were only worried about pleasing Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were not worried if he's not going to drive a Ferrari anymore. For Arab, a Ferrari was a red camel. It was rare. And a horse. I mean, these were rare things. Mostly Arabs would ride a donkey. Rasulullah had his own donkey as well. As I told you, your father, he had a camel as well. But if he was going to masjid and the daily chores in the Medina, it was a donkey. It's like your father has a Mercedes, and then he's got a Toyota Echo. So when he goes to the masjid, he never drives a Mercedes, he goes in an Echo. So, but when he's going to the city, he drives the Mercedes. Now it's about, you know, image. So for the Arabs, you know, it was all about image, but they did not worry about their image. They all came to the religion. And they gave their lives, they gave their wealth, they got persecuted, they got beaten up. You know, youngsters, you guys complain about beating. I'll tell you, my dad, Allah give him long life, if you were hit by him, you probably didn't wake up for the morning. I mean, I became so tough that my dad also gave up. So when he would hit me, I'd just stand there and it's like, you know what, this guy, we've lost him now. Because, you know, you become like, you know, you see, remember if you know WWF, Hulk Hogan, like when you hit him, towards the end when he was about to win, he would just do that. He was getting more power. He was kind of like me. When my dad was hitting me towards the end, I'd become like that as well. My dad, you know, whatever he did for me, that's why I sit here and so many people are listening to me. Imagine if he did not do that for me. I thank him. If he did not be like that to me today, I wouldn't have an audience like that. Even though my dad does not listen to me, but you know, I'm happy he did. Actually, I'm just kidding. You know what, I'm actually going to stop over here and I'm going to tell you a story, a real story about me. And I'll stop over here. I'm not going to speak even about Bilal today. So, my dad hasn't got a beard. Didn't have a beard early on, okay? So, when I passed out, I had this title, I became a du'at. I like the word du'at, I'm not a sheikh. I don't even consider myself that. So, when I became a student of a knowledge, I'm a talibul ilm. So I became a student of a knowledge, and I came back, and my dad was not well. And this is when I went to see him. My dad was not well. And we went to the doctor. The doctor had a long beard. No exaggeration. And so he looked at me, and he looked at my dad, and he's talking to my dad, and he said to my dad, "Who is this?" And he said, "He's my son." And the doctor said to my dad, I always wanted my dad to have a beard. Always. It was in my heart. But you know, children, I'm giving you an advice today. You work with your parents in a very gentle way. You don't tell them what to do. They gave their lives so that you could be what you're today. Try to understand that. They gave their lives for, so what you're today is because of them. They could have done anything. They could have been like a white person who only worries about his sake, and he goes on a holiday when he's about to die. That's when he goes and conceives and has a baby. So these babies, when they grow up, They have no attachment because this person, generally, you look at your parents, would they even sacrifice the morsel they're about to put in their mouth? So be mindful of that. I never directly said to my dad, you should not do that. I'm a kind of a person, I don't confront people. Even if I see something wrong in them, I talk to them nicely. I go in a very nice way, trying to advise them, but not directly embarrassing them. So I'm not saying if you don't have a beard, you're not a Muslim. Don't get me wrong, but this is what my wish was to those people, to especially my dad. So when this person, the doctor said, "Oh, who's this boy?" And he said, "It's my son." And the doctor started giving lecture to my father. "Oh, look at your son, he's got a beard. You don't have a beard." And my father, he did not say anything. After that, we went to the pharmacy. Guess what? The pharmacy guy all had a beard. And then my father gave the prescription, and he gave it back to him. And he said, "Who's this boy?" I said, "This is my son." Well, I'm feeling good. I'm not a boy, I'm a man. But the guy said, "Who's this boy?" So I'm aging well, mashallah. And then he said, "This is my son." And then he said, "Oh, he's got a beard, you don't have a beard." And guess what? Now to make the situation more worse, we sat in a taxi, that guy also had a beard. So, same question, he did not say anything. When we stepped out of the taxi, my dad said to me, said, "It's about time I should have a beard." And you know what? Today he has a beard. And so my advice to the kids, and also to the parents, dawah is done in a way that we go to our children, and children when we go to our parents, and everyone, husband and wives, or whoever you are, your families, you go in a very nice way. You don't make it hard for them. When you start giving them lectures and you start making it hard for them, who are me and you? Allah is the one who guides. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide whomsoever He wishes. And Allah could have guided everyone in Quraysh, but He didn't. He chose the people. My job and your job is to call people with hikmah. There's a verse in Quran that you call people when you call people, you call them with kind words, with hikmah, so that they come. Don't bombard your families with religion all the time. I'll leave you on that. I know we're coming close to Isha. Actually, we've already come into Isha. But very quickly, if you guys do have a question, we can make an exception of a couple of minutes today. But if you do have a question, I'll come to the question. And next week as well, we will look at, we still have some people left. Seriously, I thought I'm going to finish everyone today. I haven't even gone half. I only spoke about 3-4 people today. Yes?
You mentioned that when you're praying, it's just two people that you pray side by side.
That's right.
It's the same.
That's actually a more authentic hadith.
Okay, and it's the same with women.
Women actually pray side by side,
and
even in Jama'ah as well. So women do not lead like the men lead. So when a man is an imam, you've got two people, that's a saf. So in that case, the imam moves forward. But if you've got women, if they're leading the salah, the imam's right next in the same line as the other people. So Aisha radiallahu anha has led salahs from the hadith. We know she would stand in the same line where the followers would stand. So women can also have their salah, and there's no problem with that. They can pray in jama'ah, but their imam stands in the same line as the other people are standing.
And what about siblings? My sister, can she pray?
Yeah, she can pray right behind you.
Not next to me.
No. So this is where simple. If it's a man and a man, two people who pray right beside each other. As soon as it becomes three men in the family, as you look at Abu Yusuf's family, Abu Yusuf's already fallen asleep. He comes for a good sleep when listening to my lectures. Sorry to put you on the spot. When Abu Yusuf's leading the salah, he's got 3 sons, so they will be like a jama'ah at the back following him. And then got Yusuf, she'll stand right at the back, even behind the sons. That's how, and make this practice. If you are praying in the house, pray like that. At least you're keeping the sunnah alive of Jama'ah. At least you're doing that. You're doing something. Yes. Anyone else? Yes.
Was Abu Rahman wealthier than Khadija?
Sorry?
Was Abu Rahman wealthier than Khadija?
Yes, but in Mecca we don't know about his wealth, but we definitely know his wealth. See, there were 2 billionaires in Sahaba. One was Usman, and the other one was Abdurrahman. But Abdurrahman had more wealth than him. And again, when it comes to generosity as well, they were not far away from each other. So inshallah, when we progress into the seerah, today I only touched on how they came to Islam. So when we progress in the seerah in the coming weeks, whenever we mention some stories, we'll bring them in and we'll tell you how they were wealthy and how they spent their wealth. Even Talha was really wealthy. And today we missed the story of Abu Bakr Siddiq. Abu Bakr Siddiq spent half his wealth, actually most of his wealth, in buying slaves. He was just buying slaves for the sake of Allah. Wherever he went, Rasulullah said, who will free this person? Who will free this person? He would just keep on buying slaves just to keep Islam. And he was a man who actually gave, that's why one statement about Abu Bakr, Ali radiallahu anhu said, if you want to, if you think you pray the most, if you think you fast the most, if you think you are the most generous, if you think you're the most modest, if you think you're the best, Abu Bakr has already been there. And that's why a simple statement about Abu Bakr, وزن إيمان أبي بكر ووزن إيمان أهل الأرض لرجع به. So if you were to put Abu Bakr on one side of the scale and you put everyone, me, you, all the Sahabas, everyone, illa Anbiya, except for the Nabi of Allah, Abu Bakr is the heaviest. And lastly, very quickly to finish off, and I apologize for the ones who've just come for Salah, maybe just think this is a dars of after Salah is being happening before Salah. So, very quickly, one of the things it's said about Abu Bakr, Rasulullah said, on the day of judgment, there are 8 doors. He's talking to the Sahaba. And everyone's sitting. And he's saying there'll be bab of sadaqah. People give charity, will be from that. There's this bab, this bab of fasting, bab al-ayyam, this bab fi sabilillah. There is, he just keeps on going, kada wa kada, and then he says, so and so, and then he says, Abu Bakr says, is there anyone, Ya Rasulullah, who will enter from every door? And Rasulullah pauses just for a second and he says, Anta huwa ya Abu Bakr. He says, you, O Abu Bakr, will enter from all 8 doors of Jannah. Now for the youngsters, don't think they will cut his body, the head's going to fly from one. It's not going to happen that way. Abu Bakr will choose. Wallahi, this brings shivers. Me and you will not be choosing. Allah will say, enter, and we'll put our heads down and enter. Abu Bakr will come. Allah will say, choose. Which one you want to go to? That brings shivers. Imagine if Allah asked you which door you want to go to. Me and you will stand and Allah will say, this is the door you're going through. We're more than happy, inshallah. Say Ameen. Or we're standing and we go from one of the doors, inshallah. Ameen, Ya Rabb. So for Abu Bakr, Allah will say, choose Ya Abu Bakr. Which one you want to go to. And his real name was Abdullah as well. Again, his name was Abdullah. They called him Abu Bakr because that was his kunya. Kunya, the Arabs were known, as we said, even if you're not an Arab, call your children from a kunya. You know why? Because it makes them feel that they're big, they're the father of someone. Imagine. Don't call your son Abu Football, that's not a good kunya, but whatever you want to call him other than that is inshallah will be good. So I'll finish off on that, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفر الله إنه غفور رحيم. Inshallah, if you want to do adhan. And I apologize from wholeheartedly that I took a lot of time, but inshallah we'll carry on with this seerah of the Sahaba till we get to the actual seerah. In the next session, it's only the Sahaba again. I've still got 5 more left, and after that, we're going to go to Walid ibn Mughira. and just give to, get you going and doing some research. There was the most noble man of Mecca, the whole Mecca, actually was Walid ibn Mughira. That's why Abu Jahl would say, couldn't Allah give the Risala to Walid ibn Mughira? And Walid ibn Mughira was the most noble man. Remember what Walid ibn Mughira did when he was the first one to break the Kaaba. And what did he say to Allah? Oh Allah, don't worry, we're going to build you a new house. That was Walid ibn Mughira.